Hello, this is David Farmhall, and this is campaign number 11. And I'm going to talk about Galesburg. This is the thing here. I don't get back up there. Okay. And now in Galesburg, they say in times of peace, if you don't print enough money, the money's no good. And like in Galesburg, where they're having this teachers dealing, the state of Illinois says it doesn't have enough money. But I say, in times of war, if you don't print enough money, in times of war, and you don't build enough tanks and whatnot, don't have enough guns and weapons, you lose the war, and then the money's no good. So at the War Department, and I know I'm not going to win presidency. It's just going to be like a vote sort of like a protest vote. I know the people in Galesburg are going into the school board meetings and they want to get information, but they're sort of protesting the way the state of Illinois is treating the teachers when they lay them off. I'm gonna have it's like when they did World War II, they paid them wages for like around the time of World War II. I'm gonna pay wages for like the year 2050, which may be $400 an hour for teachers, or 60-40, where the teachers will get 60% of $400 an hour, and the school will get 40% of $400 an hour, paid by the federal government. And that's like it'd be 60-40, and this money will come from nowhere, just like in times of war. During war, you don't want to lose the war, so this money comes from nowhere. In times of peace, it'll be the same way. This money will come from nowhere. The teachers will get 60% of $400 an hour, and the school will get 40% of $400 an hour. I'm also going to have a deal in here for like a student loan. If you go to school or college, you get $100 an hour to go to college, 60-40, and like single parent households. If you're a single parent household and you don't want your kid getting in trouble when you're working, you'd be able to take 3 months a year off and watch your kid, because it's cheaper to watch your kid than sending them to prison after they get in trouble. And 50% of the people are single parent households, so it's not fair that the 50% of the people have to work because the other 50% have kids. So if you don't have kids, you also get 3 months a year off. And if both parents, two people work, then they only have to work, half of the 9 months. This money will come from nowhere, and we don't pay it back to anybody. That's like we send soldiers overseas to fight wars, and the foreign countries don't give us money when they're over there fighting wars. They don't send money back to America when our soldiers are over there fighting wars. But this is just number 11. So you look this up on number 11 to see what I talk about. There will be a green number down there that will have an index in it where I'll tell different topics of what it'll be. Number 1, there'll be a green number 1, and I'll have an index in there like the digits, the number that's on the time, that'll say what's on each card or each time spot, that'll tell you what's on each spot. And there's also black numbers, but the green number will tell you what's on each number, and there'll be red numbers in here that'll tell you what's different things. But I had black numbers, and I never held them up all the way through, so they never appeared. This is the first number I've held up, or I held up a 9 all the way through, and there's a 10 that's missing, but I held up a 9 all the way through, and it was the first number appeared all the way through. So I've got 4 minutes so far, but this is just for the teachers over in Galesburg saying, I mean, I know I'm not going to get elected, and I put an ad in the paper for you to look at it, but you know, you can just look at it, but it's just more or less a protest vote. I know I'm not going to get elected, but you know, it's just, and I'm not reading this off a script, but you know, in times of war, if you don't spend enough money and you lose the war, then money's no good. But in times of peace, they say, if you print too much money, the money's no good. But I'm going to have a Department of Peace where I'm going to spend as much money in times of peace as you do in war. So the teachers will get, and that's just one thing. That's like if you work at McDonald's, that'll be $100 an hour, 60/40. Or a welfare worker, that's a $200 an hour, 60/40. Or a semi-truck driver, that's a $300 an hour job, 60/40. Or a police officer sitting behind a desk, or a teacher, that's a $400 an hour job. Or a police officer driving a car, that's a $500 an hour job, 60/40. Or a nurse, that's a $600 an hour job, 60/40. Or a doctor, that's a $700 an hour job, 60/40. This money comes from nowhere, just like in war. During World War II, if we hadn't spent all that money that we spent, Germany would be over here, and either we'd be speaking German if we were lucky, or in a concentration camp, if we were lucky, or worse. But this, I've been on here about 6 minutes, but so I'm gonna quit now. But basically, that's just my ideas. You know, the teachers will get enough money that they can live on. I'm trying to do a good deal that the government don't usually give you. The governor of Illinois is going backwards. The whole country is going backwards. I want to go forwards. We've been going backwards for years. I want to go forward into the future. They say we're getting a loan. I don't consider it a loan when we build a school. That's not going backwards when we build a new school. I don't consider that negative. That's a positive. When you go to college and get an education, that isn't negative. When a teacher gets a decent salary, that isn't a negative. I mean, that isn't a deficit. That's a positive. I don't consider that a deficit. People, you know, the politicians say that's a deficit. You know, on paper that looks like a deficit. You know, they say that's a deficit. I think it's a con job. You know, on paper it looks like a deficit. But like, you know, that's like during World War II, as we went into debt, and you know, they spent thousands, millions, I don't know if they spent $1 billion, but the people that were building the war equipment, they had hundreds, thousands, maybe millions in their pocket. The farther we went into debt, the more money they had. And then when they paid it off, they didn't have any money. Well, this is 8 minutes. I'm going to shut it off because I'm sure you're tired of it. But, you know, if you're interested in any of it, go to Green One, and I'll have an index of different stuff I have on here you may want to listen to. I don't think we owe too much money. We may not owe enough. We may not owe enough money for what we need. That's like we got infrastructure that you know, we need fixed. That's like out in California. We got to get prepared for earthquakes. And California can't afford to fix the roads when they break. If you hire that's like construction workers will get 60% of $300 an hour just to go in and fix the roads, with California not even thinking about it. They just say, hey, construction workers, go in there and fix the road. Or, you know, that's like they go in there and fight fires. They just automatically go in there and drill the wells for the people that need the water. Well, this is the end of my commercial. It's like 9 minutes. Bye.